The president of the UAW, Shawn Fain, he appeared on Morning Joe this morning, and I could not have been happier with what he had to say. And of course, we should know by now, Donald Trump is about to explode, because here is the guy that is courting a lot of the new Donald Trump voters, the white working class that Donald Trump thinks should be automatically his. Shawn Fain, he is speaking the language that those of us who are a part of our PDR posse understands well. He's speaking the language of not only the working class, but the people who actually do all of the work, from the person sweeping the grounds to the person washing the dishes to the lawyers, the doctors. How do they get a fair break? And he understands the billionaire concept quite well. He understands that the Trumps of the world, that all of these billionaires, they are doing it all on the backs of the American people, not anything that they've earned. So it is time, yes, for the UAW to engage fully to make sure that the worker is taken advantage of. He even called out Ronald Reagan for the last 43 years, since Ronald Reagan, that the American worker, 90%, the bottom 90%, in other words, the vast majority of Americans, their salaries have only increased 30% over that 43 years, 32% or so. When the upper 1%, the people who make, the people who really command what's to be done and not necessarily do the work, their increase over 300% over that same 43-year period. I mean, it has to stop. And it's great that he comes out and he provides this narrative that he's given. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side. I couldn't have said it any better.
Joe Biden has a history of serving others and serving the working class and fighting for the working class, standing with the working class. Donald Trump has a history of serving himself and standing for the billionaire class, and that's contrary to everything that working class people stand for.
Trump blasted a UAW President Shawn Fain on his social media platform, accusing him of, quote, selling the automobile industry right into the big, powerful hands of China, adding, quote, get rid of this dough and vote for Donald J. Trump. I will bring the automobile industry back to our country.
Yeah. Let's bring in Shawn Fain right now. Talk about what's at stake in this election for workers, and talk about what's at stake for those people in your own union that are like, I know he supports billionaires and multinational corporations, but I just kind of like him. I'm going to vote for it.
And honestly, what this all comes down to, when we look at this election is, are we going to continue to go forward? Or are we going to go backwards? Trump's billionaire economy, Trump's tax breaks that he put in place when he was president that benefited, 85% of the benefit went to the top 1%, and never expired. Meanwhile, the minuscule benefits that went to working class people had an expiration date on it. That doesn't work for us. We look at what he's done, the body of work, throughout his presidency, and then Joe Biden through his presidency. It's a real clear picture. Donald Trump did not stand with working class people when he had the opportunity as president. We had the GM 40-day strike in 2019. Donald Trump was completely silent, never said a word. We had Lordstown Assembly Plant that was slated to close in 2019. Donald Trump told people, don't sell your houses, and he did nothing but blame the local union president, which was a complete joke. Joe Biden, in 2023, we had the same situation. A plant in Belvedere, Illinois was slated to close. Joe Biden engaged us. We got involved. We worked together, and we found a solution, not just to save a closing plant, but to add a second plant there and also save a dying community. Joe Biden joined us on the picket line and stood with us. Trump put in anti-union NLRB people, on the board and killed organizing. All the positive momentum we have going right now in this country for working class people. 75% of Americans supported us in our contract fight because the principle principles we're fighting for: wages, better benefits, healthcare, retirement security, getting our time, getting our lives back. That's what matters to working class people. Donald Trump doesn't want any of that for working class people. And he used the term weapon of mass destruction. The only weapon of mass destruction we've faced in the last 40 years has been corporate greed, because that's what drives this, and that's Trump's world.
Talk about what happened during the strike for those watching that didn't follow it so closely. We had Joe Biden going on the picket line, first president in U.S. history to do that. What did Donald Trump do?
Yeah, so that, again, it's a perfect contrast between the two candidates. I mean, you have, for the first time in history, a sitting U.S. president joining working class people, joining the workers on the picket line, standing up with them. And you had Donald Trump, who claims he supports the workers, who calls one of his business owner buddies and in a non-union factory, and he goes to this non-union factory and has a rally claiming that he's there for the union workers and the striking workers. It's what Trump does best. It's a rope-a-dope. I want you to look over here, while over here he's taking everything away. I mean, it's the divide and conquer tactic, and that's what's worked for the billionaire class and the corporate class forever. They divide us over race, they divide us over gender. I mean, even I heard you guys talking earlier about border security. Even border security. When I look at that issue, I see my grandparents. The only difference when I see destitute people that are desperate trying to cross a border to find a better life in America, that we used to be the beacon. We welcome your sick, bring us your sick, your needy, bring us your poor. I see my grandparents who were destitute coming out of a depression. They moved north from the South. They found jobs in the UAW, and it changed their lives. They lived the American dream. That's what this is all about. We can't continue to let the billionaire class and the corporate class divide us over issues because that's how they win. And the issues that matter to us, that matter to all working class people, is having security in their lives, having dignity, when they're too old to work and too young to die.
Let's talk about the workers in your union a little bit. The push toward electric vehicles seems to be a little bit of a pullback on that at the moment. Some of the deficiencies in those, a future that's gone electric. The Biden administration has gone big, saying that's going to create more jobs. This is where we're headed. How do you see the present of the American auto worker and then the future a few years down the road?
We embrace technology changes, that we always have. And the UAW has always stood, for a clean environment. Walter Reuther famously said back in his time, that what good's another $1 an hour in wages or another week's vacation if the place you go to, take your vacation, you can't swim in a lake or you can't breathe the air. I mean, it's, it goes back to that. I mean, we don't know where this is going to go. We've put provisions in place. We've worked again with the Biden administration, Secretary of Labor Julie Su, to put provisions in place that no matter where this industry goes, whether it's electric, whether internal combustible engine continues, whatever that is, that working class people will continue to benefit and will have better standards. We'll have our standards, not a race to the bottom, which is what Donald Trump drives. And, we can't be afraid of change. And so, we've covered both ends of the spectrum, and whatever technology comes down the road, we'll embrace that also. I mean, wherever this market goes, our workers are going to be okay.
Shawn, as we approach this election, and you've made this endorsement, what will labor do that now UAW and others have endorsed Biden to energize the laborers, the union members, to come out and vote? Because all of this is moot if your endorsement does not carry the weight of bringing out members and likewise other union leaders.
Yeah, this endorsement and this election, it's about a hell of a lot more than just organized labor. But organized labor has to lead this fight, and we're going to lead it. This is about humanity. Where do we want to go as a nation? I mean, do we want to continue on this 40 or 50 year downward spiral we've been on, where we have this massive income inequality, this wealth gap? I read the other day on an Economic Policy Institute study where in 43-year period from 79, right when Reagan took over in 80 till 2022, the top 0.1% wages increased 344%. The bottom 90% of us in America increased 32%, which if you factor 3% average inflation a year, we weren't even anywhere near keeping up with inflation, while the billionaire class and the wealthy took all the profits. That's what this is all about. We have to focus on humanity. There's a reason why Trump and them want to cut Social Security benefits, and they don't want Medicare for all, and they don't want health care for all, because they want to concentrate all the wealth in their hands. They want to take everything and leave everybody else fending for themselves. That's not something that works for us, but labor's going to lead this fight, and we're in it. And our members have to look at the reality. We have to look at facts. That's why our contract campaign was so successful, because we put the facts out there of the gross inequality between the companies and the workers. And it's the same situation in our politics. There's gross inequality with the few at the top and everyone else at the bottom. We have to look at facts, not fiction, not alternative facts or lies, as Trump likes to talk about, real facts. Right. And the facts are very clear.
Shawn Fain nailed it. And he realizes it's not just about the UAW. It's not just about the unionized worker. It's about the entire fabric of our society. It's about Medicare or health care for all. It's about having a good social safety net. It is about having a clean environment, and not even the scare tactics that many would try with the EV, electronic vehicles, and internal combustion engine. Hey, auto worker, be scared. Be very scared. Don't support that green stuff because you know that's your job. Well, Shawn Fain puts that to rest. Shawn Fain says, we accept technology. We also want a clean environment, as one of our leaders have said. Why make an extra dollar if you can't later on go out and swim in the lake or breathe the air? Wow. Shawn Fain nailed every point. This is one of those interviews that we should make sure every single worker, not just a UAW worker, not just a unionized worker, every worker should listen to what this president of the UAW had to say.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.